Good morning. Welcome to the Unitarian Congregation of Westchester and our online worship service. My name is Chris Hyson, and I'm a lay leader in our congregation. Our minister, Reverend Dan Schatz, is on leave this week, so we are pleased to welcome with us today Reverend Addae Kraba. Reverend Addae.
We have gathered today as stranger, friend, and people of faith to speak, listen, and learn. We have been given the special gift of being able to vocalize our deepest concerns and give voice to that which we think and feel. With that gift, we're also given the ability to deny and refuse to listen. Today, may we hear in truth as well as speak in truth. For in this age, even small words have a terrible power. Let us worship together.
Thank you, Reverend Addae, and again, welcome. Reverend Addae earned a Master of Divinity from the Star King School for Ministry in Berkeley, California, after receiving a Bachelor of Science in Organizational Behavior from the University of San Francisco. She then served as an intern for Community Church of New York, Unitarian Universalist, where she was ordained into the Unitarian Universalist denomination. She currently lives in the hill country of Bourne, Texas, with her mother, daughter, and her two toy poodles, King Solomon and Queen Makita, who we may hear during this service. Fair warning. She serves as minister to the Unitarian Universalist New Braunfels congregation in Texas. I'd especially like to welcome any visitors to our online service this morning. We'll hope that we get a chance to know you better. You can say hello in the comments. You can go to ucwc.org or send us an email if you'd like more information about our congregation or if you'd like to be in touch directly. We hope at the end of service, you'll also join us for our social time. The link and password are in connections, and we'll also put them in the comments for this service and on the screen at the end of the service. Unitarian Universalism holds that great good comes from wide diversity. So whoever you are, whomever you love, whatever your heritage, and from wherever your beliefs spring, we are pleased that you are here. Let us walk a while together. We do have a few announcements today to highlight. Each year, our congregation partners with the LGBT Equality Alliance of Chester County to host a Transgender Day of Remembrance Vigil. The vigil will be on Friday, November 20th at 6:30 p.m. and will be held on Zoom. The link is on the Zoom section of our webpage. We'll honor and share the names of transgender people who have lost their lives to violence in the past year and have an opportunity for conversation and sharing. Please have a candle handy to light in honor of those we remember. Also, our annual bread service is next Sunday, November 22nd. We'll have an online all ages service followed by a COVID-safe curbside bread communion between 11:15 and 12:30 on Sunday, the 22nd. Please drop off any bread on Saturday, November 21st between 2 and 5 p.m. We will cut it using masks and gloves and distribute it in small bags with separate gluten and nut-free options. Just drive by Lacey Street Sunday between 11:15 and 12:30 to receive your bread and a blessing. We hope to have lots of bread to share. You can also upload your favorite bread recipes. See the connections announcement for a link to upload. Our Director of Lifespan Faith Development, Cassie Lengel, invites all our RE families to a fun social time before the bread service next week. We'll meet at our normal 9 a.m. time to make and play with salt dough or Play-Doh or clay as we practice our kneading and have some free space to chat together. Remember to check out our Padlet web pages and connections so you can share and try bread recipes together and so you can participate in our Adopt a Family for Christmas outreach. With any questions, you can contact dlfd@ucwc.org. And as a reminder, please check connections and our online calendar for more announcements and more information on how to access our various online events. Our chalice lighting words today are from W.E.B. Du Bois. The prayer of our souls is a petition for persistence, not for the one good deed or a single thought, but deed on deed and thought on thought, until day calling unto day shall make a life worth living. I invite you now to join in at home with our first hymn, number 38, Morning Has Broken.
Morning has broken like the first morning. Blackbird has spoken like the first bird. Praise for the singing, praise for the morning, praise for them springing fresh from the word. Sweet the rain's new fall, sunlit from heaven, like the first dewfall on the green grass. Praise for the sweetness of the wet garden, sprung in completeness, where God's feet pass. Mine is the sunlight, mine is the morning, born of the one light Eden saw play. Praise with elation, praise every morning, God's recreation of the new day.
Please join me now in our unison affirmation. We gather, aspiring to be a thriving, caring, and welcoming community that supports each person's spiritual journey, embraces diversity, challenges us to live responsibly, and is a catalyst for a just and compassionate world. We will go now to Cassie Lengel and A Time for All Ages, the story, The Perfect Heart.
Hello, everyone, and welcome. Now is the time in our service when we invite our children and youth to join those who have gathered here together as we listen to a very special Time for All Ages message. Our focus for today's service is on our beautiful hearts and all the work that they do. As such, let's take in a nice, calming breath this morning, and I invite us all to pause and notice the feel of the air in your lungs and your heart pumping all of that oxygen through your lovely bodies. Ready? Today I have a very special story for us called The Perfect Heart. One day, a young man was standing in the middle of the town proclaiming that he had the most beautiful heart in the whole valley. A large crowd gathered and they all admired his heart, for it was perfect. There was not a mark or a flaw in it. Yes, they all agreed it was truly the most beautiful heart they had ever seen. The young man was very proud and boasted even more loudly about his beautiful heart. Suddenly, an old man appeared at the front of the crowd and said, "Why, your heart is not nearly as beautiful as mine." The crowd and the young man turned to look at the old man's heart. It was beating strongly, but full of scars, and it had places where the pieces had been removed and other pieces put in, but they didn't quite fit right, and there were several jagged edges. In fact, in some places there were deep gouges where whole pieces were missing. The people stared. How could he say that his heart is more beautiful, they thought. The young man looked at the old man's heart, saw it stayed, and laughed. "You must be joking," he said. "Compare your heart with mine. Mine is perfect, and yours is a mess of scars and tears." "Yes," said the old man, "yours is perfect looking, but I would never trade for yours. You see, every scar represents a person to whom I have given my love. I tear out a piece of my heart, and I give it to them, and often they give me a piece of their heart in return. And this piece fits into the empty place in my heart. But because the pieces aren't exact, I have some rough edges, which I cherish, because they remind me of the love we shared. Sometimes I have given pieces of my heart away, and the other person hasn't returned a piece of their heart to me. These are the empty gouges. Giving love is taking a chance. Although these gouges are painful, they stay open, reminding me of the love I have for these people too. And I hope someday they may return and fill the space I have waiting. So now, do you see what true beauty is?" The young man stood silently, with tears running down his cheeks. He walked up to the old man, reached into his perfect young heart, and he ripped out a piece. He offered it to the old man with trembling hands. The old man took the offering, placed it in his heart, and took a piece from his old scarred heart and placed it into the wound in the young man's beautiful heart. It fit, but not perfectly, as there were some jagged edges. The young man looked at his heart, not perfect any more, but more beautiful than ever, since love from the old man's heart flowed into his. They embraced and walked away, side by side. Our hearts do so much work. They keep us alive and healthy as they pump blood throughout our bodies, letting us do all the running around that we need to do each day. But as we heard in this story, our hearts also work hard to keep us in relationships with other people. The very act of loving others opens our hearts to receive the most beautiful love and peace, with the expectation of sharing our own love and at the risk of getting hurt. In this story, people could see one another's hearts, the bruises, the scars, the missing pieces. But in the real world, these are hidden from us. We know they are there when we join in loving and being loved by others. We can feel it. Take a moment and thank your hearts today for all the beautiful things they do. And as we all go out in love, I hope we will treat each other's hearts with tender compassion, sharing our own and aware of our imperfect scars.
Thank you, Cassie. We are very grateful for all of the gifts that our members and friends continue to offer to the congregation. I want to remind you that while we are online, you can donate on the web or by text or by app or by mailing in a good old-fashioned check, or you can add something to what you pay in your pledge each month. Each month on the third Sunday, we share an offering with an organization or cause in our community. This month, we are sharing with Baby Food Fund, an organization that is close to my heart. Here to tell us a little bit more about Baby Food Fund is the founder, Nate Hyson.
Hello, congregation. My name is Nate Hyson. My family has been part of the congregation for about 7 years, and I am the founder of Baby Food Fund. Baby Food Fund collects donations from people like you, and we use the monetary donations to buy food for babies, which is distributed to the community by the Chester County Food Bank. I started Baby Food Fund when I was 6 years old, and thanks to the generosity of you and others, Baby Food Fund has since grown. We have donated over a ton of food so far and will continue to donate food. We have had multiple events so far, such as a concert held at the church, and plan to have more in the future, all to feed as many Chester County babies as possible. This year has been a tough year for all of us, and we here at Baby Food Fund are thankful for your continuing support. It is more important to donate now than ever. Many more babies are going hungry and cannot be fed. Parents are having to choose between buying food for their babies or for themselves, and no parent should have to make that choice. Thank you again for your donations. We and the families who will be receiving the food are grateful. Thank you.
Thank you. As we give today, I hope we will be as generous as possible within our means. We will now receive the morning offering. For these gifts and for all we give to our many communities, we are truly grateful. Please now join in at home for hymn number 123, Spirit of Life.
Spirit of life, come unto me. Sing in my heart all the stirrings of compassion. Blow in the wind, rise in the sea, move in the hand, giving life the shape of justice. Roots hold me close, wings set me free. Spirit of life, come to me, come to me. Spirit of life, come unto me. Sing in my heart all the stirrings of compassion. Blow in the wind, rise in the sea, move in the hand, giving life the shape of justice. Roots hold me close, wings set me free. Spirit of life, come to me, come to me.
It is my pleasure again to welcome and introduce Reverend Addae Kraba. Reverend Addae.
Thank you. Awakening the spiritual heart. Our heart is the link between body and spirit, instinct and inspiration. Author Paulo Coelho informs that we will never be able to escape from our heart. So it's better to listen to what it has to say. Our physical heart beats in time with the rhythm of the universe, doing the physical work of supplying our body with the life force without our attention. Concentrating on this rhythm serves to remind us that we are spiritual beings having a human experience rather than the other way around. Like the notes of a piano or the gap between breathing in and out, silent space between words of a conversation calls us to attention of more than just something. It becomes awareness. When we take something seriously, we take it to heart. When we truly remember something, we remember it by heart. A heart-to-heart conversation means speaking with sincerity, and a verbal exchange through honesty and passion means that we are speaking from the bottom of our hearts. And when we are filled with joy, we feel it in our hearts. Listening with heart means being present and giving the speaker all of our attention. The spirit of life is found in, around, and through us. Yet after thousands of years of great spiritual examples and all of the great works of the literature, we still need to remind ourselves that there is an intersection where body and spirit meet. Many of us forget the great vision and eternal truths, or worse yet, we divide one from another, lending attention to those eternal verities only on Sunday or Saturday or on some other special holy day. Through this indecisiveness or wavering back and forth between doubt and fear, we often resist anything new or different. But everything that really matters is found within our own being. We are part of the universe, and the universe is inside of our choices made. The consternation is caused by the discomfort of not knowing what will happen next. However, no matter how much planning we do, none of us knows what will happen next. But awakening means transforming as we shed the old, an emergence of a renewal of the spirit. This offers a new way of looking at the same old things that have become burdens. When this happens, we experience what the poet Khalil Gibran calls the breaking of the shell that encloses understanding. The metaphors from all spiritual traditions that are reflected in the world's religions, such as grace, liberation, and being born again, testify to the possibility of transcending and awakening to some renewal. The metamorphosis of caterpillar into butterfly is a particularly good metaphor for self-transformation. At a certain point, the caterpillar feels impelled to wrap itself into a cocoon. Immobile, it begins to dissolve. There is no sense of a marvelous new life that is coming. There is only dissolving of the old and the deep fears that accompany this. Only from that annihilation of the old form can a magnificent new form of the butterfly emerge. Within spiritual transformation, we become deeper, more open, more joyful, more loving, and more at peace. Spiritual transformation causes us to become more related to oneself, to others, and the holy. The outcome is healing and wholeness. However, breaking open is not always easy to do because many of us have been scarred along the way, just as the old man in the story for all age. And a very understandable response, consciously or unconsciously, is the decision not to open up again. We're afraid to go deeper for fear of being judged or rejected. Indeed, many of us are afraid of embodying rational thoughts. We want to avoid the tender places. But the primary goal in the life of faith communities is about transformation. We are here to help each other grow our souls. Moreover, when we release that which no longer serves us, letting go of excess baggage to feel lighter and more loving, we become more aware of who we truly are. In the book, Discontinuity and Hope, author Lyle Schaller calls us to question whether, when faced with change, if we view that change as a source of hope or despair. Despair, not discomfort, because we're not here simply for comfort. We're here to embody our principles and covenant with another, with the work and the holy. Therefore, it is imperative that we ask ourselves the tough questions. Do we see challenges as a source of hope or despair? The answer will be determined by whether we see ourselves living under the threat of change or eagerly looking forward to the hope of change. Feeling the challenges means we are alive and that we are connected with the world, our dreams, our visions, and with our strengths. Essayist Normandy Ellis talks about a friend who calls himself a human becoming in the spirit of growth, change, and development that is part and parcel of this life. However, a shift in consciousness is what is needed for spiritual growth and transformation to occur. And that begins with an opening of our hearts to the spirit within. In the book, Finding Yourself in Transition, author Robert Burnett writes that each of us who is going through transitions is a potential hero for leaving our old familiar world to venture into unmapped territory, not knowing what fate will befall us. He continues saying that, like in ancient mythology, we'll encounter the dragons of self-doubt and fear, then engage in fierce battles within the soul. But if we persist, we'll discover the treasure, the Holy Grail. Our joys are being tempered by the environment of fear that has become a way of contemporary life. We're torn apart by fears and threats, from the coronavirus that has taken so many lives, to bipartisanism and threats to freedom of choices about how we self-identify, who we love, marry, and way of worship. Our fear of the stranger keeps us in a constant state of othering. Fear of dying keeps us from truly living. Is it any wonder that in the chaos, we lose all sense of who we truly are, allowing our sparks of light to become shrouded in despair and hopelessness? Fear limits the fullness of life and prevents us from realizing our dreams through complete actualization and becoming transformed. When we fear something, we either move away from it or we move through it and learn. Sometimes we become transformed. In today's wounded world, we need the love and support of each other more than ever. There will always be something that frightens us, but remember that we are endowed with a spark of divinity that we can choose to use while lifting each other up as we come together amidst our joys and sorrows. Theologian Paul Tillich calls the ability to live creatively in the midst of our fears the courage to be. That's all any one of us can hope for. The courage to be in the midst of fear. A spiritual rebirth can emerge out of despair, desperation, and fear. However, we have to allow ourselves to be vulnerable enough to open up and allow the shift to happen. However, there is risk in vulnerability. But living an inauthentic life without hope for love and light deadens the spirit within. Loving ourselves from the inside out transforms us and makes us whole. And it's our choice to signal spirit that we are willing to be transformed. The world needs all of our power and love energy, and we each have something to give. Author Merle Shane advised that the trick is to find it and use it. We must be on the lookout for resources that will unlock our inner potential. Be on the lookout for experiences that will grab us and turn us around, taking us to what philosopher Sam King describes as a mature sense of wonder. Unitarian Universalist congregations affirm and promote 7 principles, which we hold as strong values and moral guides. And we make a conscious choice to live out these principles within the living tradition of wisdom and spirituality. However, under the umbrella of Unitarian Universalism, we have diverse dialects of spirit that are drawn from various sources, such as science, poetry, scripture, and personal experience that offer opportunities for awakening. Moreover, inspiration can be found all around us. Some people like the Dalai Lama, Thich Nhat Hanh, Reverend William Barber, Tarana Burke, and Greta Thunberg are highly visible. But I believe there are also some remarkable, authentic people within your congregation, people who embody the principles of transformation. We have to learn to recognize the signs of these elevated souls. Because as Rabbi Harold Kushner reminds us, the ultimate goal is to transform the world into the kind of world that the Holy had in mind with creation. We don't have to be a star to make a difference. When life looks bleakest and our old wounds are giving us pain and our fears arise, this is the time to open our hearts to spirit, to embrace our highest and most authentic selves, making the shift to awakening our spiritual heart. Each time that we renew our commitment to spirit, each other, and dare to believe that life is worth celebrating, we shed the old for the new. Each time we act from a place of compassion and love, refusing to be taken by the forces that stimulate our fears, we awaken the spiritual heart. From my heart to yours, may it be so.
As we move now into the time of our service when we lift up the joys and sorrows among us, I invite you to sing, wherever you are, "There is a love holding me."
There is a love holding me. There is a love holding all that I love. There is a love holding me. I rest in this love.
Good morning. My name is Diane Cole, and I'm a member of the pastoral care team, and I'm the substitute for Carrie Sandler, who is the contact person for this month. And here are the cards of sharing. A card of sorrow, from a family who is sad about two cats. Lady Honey disappeared 14 years ago this week. And also their neighbor's cat, Icky, just died, leaving the neighbor very distraught. They wish for healing and solace. Another sorrow for a member who requested a candle be lit for Uncle Bob, who peacefully died of old age on Monday night. Among other things, Bob was an ardent Democrat. She was glad that during his last days, he had the comfort of being home with her aunt, having daily visits from hospice workers and nearby family members, including a great-granddaughter. And finally, hearing the results of the election. She's sad that due to the pandemic, she can't go to California to hug her relatives and give them her condolences in person. As always, the candle also represents all the unexpressed joys, sorrows, and concerns. Thank you.
There is a love holding us. There is a love holding all that we love. There is a love holding us. We rest in this love.
Please join now at home for our final hymn, number 168, One More Step.
One more step, we will take one more step, till there is peace for us and everyone. We'll take one more step. One more word, we will say one more word, till every word is heard by everyone. We'll say one more word. One more prayer, we will say one more prayer, till every prayer is shared by everyone. We'll say one more prayer. One more song, we will sing one more song, till every song is sung by everyone. We'll sing one more song. One more step, we will take one more step, till there is peace for us and everyone. We'll take one more step.
Divinity that dwells within. Go forth and let that spark be a guide to your decisions, to bring a ray of hope, fan the flames of passion, and spread the warm glow of love. May it be so.